Hey, welcome back to a new video. How you're doing? Hope you're well. So today we thought we'd actually sit down and speak to the camera about why we actually chose the VW T5 over other vans that we was looking at.
Yeah, we started off just not knowing actually what van we were looking for. We were looking at kind of everything. And we were actually looking for a few months as well. And at one point we did stop looking. Mainly used Facebook Marketplace to look at vans.
And Auto Trader. We use Auto Trader a fair bit, yeah.
When Liam was at work, he'd actually kind of keep sending me over these vans that he looked at, and I'd always look at the MOTs. I'm like, no, rust, because we're looking for a van that literally had
barely any rust.
Yeah, we didn't want much rust, and something that would probably be a bit more reliable, really.
Yeah.
Which is why we didn't really look at VWs, because we thought they were a lot more out of our price range when we were first looking at them.
Yeah, because the ones we looked at originally, we did look at. Just quickly to go back a bit as well, we looked at built vans that have already been built as well, so like traditional motorhomes and stuff like that. But for the money, we just didn't really get we didn't see anything that kind of took our fancy and had everything we wanted, because we was going to move into it. We need to obviously have solar panel and all that sort of stuff, and none of them had that. And at the time, our budget was a bit less. We kind of lowered our budget, and at the start, we thinking that we were trying to get something really cheap and do it as cheap as possible. And we was looking around for a few weeks, wasn't it? Probably at least.
Yeah, and all the vans that were really cheap were just crap, really.
Yeah, they just had something wrong with them, like either rust or mechanically, or the MOTs especially. Yeah. Like previous MOTs had a lot of issues and advisories and stuff, which obviously isn't good. You don't want that at all, really. You kind of want to get something with a nice clean MOT with no advisories if possible. That's obviously sort of in your price range. We looked at a Bedford Bambi first, didn't we?
Oh yeah, I love the Bedford Bambi, but then we were really contemplating actually contacting the seller, and then I looked online, and apparently they're really crap. They don't go very fast. They're very top heavy.
Yeah, they're very top heavy.
So they're very liable to
very short wheelbase.
Yeah, you can very easily flip them, and they're not very safe on the motorway, because I think they only went like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, and even that was pushing it. Some people were saying they didn't go that.
Yeah, because it's like a 1 litre engine.
Yeah, they look really cute, and they kind of ticked all the boxes. Obviously, they didn't have a solar panel and that sort of stuff, but they had like the bed, they had obviously the cooker and the fridge and all that sort of stuff, but they just didn't have a solar panel, which weren't too much of an issue because we could have just slapped that on after, and it was actually really cheap as well. I think it was only a couple grand. Which obviously for that sort of for kind of a base build was actually kind of what I was looking for. But then after we did a bit more research on it, we was like, no, I won't do that. So we kind of left it for a few days, didn't really look, kind of just left it and just see what happened and kind of think things over. And then I was at work and looked on Facebook Marketplace and seen this van come up for 3,000. I think it was 3,250 or something like that. I think it was.
Yeah, something around that. It was just over 3 grand.
Yeah, it was just over 3,000. And I was like, that seems really cheap. And it looked in good condition from the pictures and stuff. Obviously, the front, the rip in the seat, and a few marks on the plastic and stuff, but I'm not really fussed about it. There's only a few marks in it. Mechanically, though, it seems sound. We looked at the MST certificate and it had it like 3 days or 2 days before, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And it was clean. There was no advisories. There was one advisory on the windscreen, which obviously we knew we could get that replaced just on insurance, which weren't bad at all. And anything else was fine. The year before, the MOT seemed good as well. So it kind of ticked all the boxes. And when I looked at other VW T5s, this seemed a lot cheaper. All the other ones seemed like 1,000 or 2 more for the same sort of mileage, same year and condition and stuff. So we messaged the guy when he'd seen it, and I ended up buying it there and then, to be fair.
Yeah, we got it for 3 grand as well, so we got it a couple
£200 cheaper. To be fair, I should have probably pushed them down a bit more. I was going to go at like 2.8, and Tabitha was like, no, it's too cheeky, go at 3. And as soon as I said 3, he just said yeah, and I was like, I should have tried driving down a bit more. But hey, we still got it at a decent price, we believe, because even since we bought it, we had to spend 1,000 on it, which you probably already know about in previous videos. We had to spend 1,000 on it, and even with spending that amount of money, it still comes in, apparently, well, from what people have said, still cheap for this sort of van. So we can't really complain with what we made the choice with.
Yeah, so as soon as I got it, I booked it in for a service, because I just wanted to make sure that I didn't know when it last had his service. I don't think he knew. And I just like to get it sorted out, oil changed and all that. I make sure that the engine's actually fine.
Yeah.
And that's when we found a few issues, which makes me think that the MOT was a bit dodgy, the one we had for, because it was like we bought it 5 days after
the MOT.
Yeah. And it needed a brake, a pad and disc.
Yeah.
And what else did
it needed front bearings on the top of the struts, so it needed a few bits doing to it still. So when we actually bought the van as well, the guy we bought it from told us that it just had a new clutch and a refurb gearbox on it, which with these vans can be quite a common issue, I believe. So that's really good to know that it's had a refurb and it's had a new clutch on it, so we shouldn't have to worry about that for at least another 80,000 miles, 100,000 miles or something. It worked out really well actually getting this van as well, because I've always, like when I was growing up, I've always looked at VW campervans and seen them as like the pinnacle of campervans and stuff, so it's actually quite a nice thing to have to be able to kind of fulfil that little dream I had when I was younger about having a VW campervan.
Well, you still like the T4s. You see loads of T4s. So every time you see
The
them
T3s.
Is it T3s?
T3s,
oh, yeah. Sorry, the T3. Liam always shows me like, oh, look at this van on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I do love T3s.
He's like, maybe we'll get a T3 one day.
Yeah, I do think after this, depending on the height issue with this, if we don't have a height issue with this, then we'll probably actually get a T3, I reckon. Think we'll probably sell this and look at getting a T3 because they look way better and they're just awesome. Like,
see, I think if I upgraded this, I'd want a high top.
Yeah, you can get high top T3s.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they actually look pretty nice as well.
Yeah, because when you shove a high top on these T5s,
they just look like you put a big Mohican on them.
Yeah, it makes them just look really ugly. I know it increases the price range, but...
And it has like a lot of more storage and stuff, but they don't look very nice.
No, I think it just takes that VW look on it.
Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of a good starting point for the VWs. Hopefully we can deal with this sort of space. And maybe if we need a bit more headroom or something, obviously we can look at a T3 in the future, so I'm not writing that off yet.
Yeah, and because I've always grown up, well, since I passed my test, I drove a Yaris for like 7 years, and I've never really drove another car.
Yeah.
And then when we were talking about vans, I didn't want to get something too big, because like a big, like long wheelbase transporter or something, like really scared me driving. And you'd only just passed your test as well, so we did want something that was a bit smaller anyway. I don't think I'll go to like a massive van. I can't say never, but I think it'd only be probably like go up to medium wheelbase now.
Yeah.
But
this is perfect.
This is perfect at the minute, starting off. Because I've never drove a van before. And
it's just like driving a car, really, isn't it? Just a bit longer.
Yeah. So it is a bit more difficult to park and reverse it. I find when you go to supermarket parking, they are very tight to fit in. And I always think the engine's a lot bigger than it actually is, to be fair, but you're always kind of still sticking out the back a little bit when you are parking.
Yeah, so you can imagine the struggles if you had a bigger van.
Yeah, I kind of just try and avoid parking next to people now and trying to park the other end of the car park.
But to be honest, I reversed this better than I did. I've only got my licence, November last year, so not very long. And I find this the easiest vehicle I've ever drove to reverse, especially to reverse. I find it really easy. Like where we are now is quite a really tight spot to reverse into. And I've reversed into it a lot easier than Tabitha did. Tabitha's good at it now, and you obviously got to hang a bit.
But the worst thing is because you don't have a rear view mirror, so you have to use your mirrors to reverse. So you can only see really like the side. You can't see really what's actually right behind you, which is a bit weird.
They have big wind.
Yeah, I do love the mirrors on that because you can see a lot more. But it is weird not having a rear view mirror, so you kind of have to use your mirrors a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of different style of driving. And I like the fact that you feel like when you actually drive in the van, you feel like you're actually sitting on the seat.
Yeah, it's really good seat
position. Because when I've got back into driving my mum's or Hannah's car, I feel like I'm like in a go-kart.
Yeah, and the windscreen feels like really closed and you can't see much. Yeah, definitely.
I do prefer driving a van. Yeah.
That's another thing, so I've always wanted a van. Like, I don't know why, but growing up, obviously I wasn't really into cars and stuff. I did mechanics and that a lot. And I just always wanted a van, and I think it was to do with the visibility and sitting higher and the seat positioning. Like I just feel really comfy sitting in the van, and I feel like it's a bit like when you sit in a 4x4 as well. Like you kind of see a lot more, but I prefer the seat positioning in the van as well. So it's kind of worked out perfectly for me.
And I love the turbo now. When I first got a van, well before we'd even got a van, I was like, I don't understand why people love turbos, and so I was like, what's the point in it? And now I've got the turbo in this engine. I love it. It's amazing.
The other plus as well of getting a VW T5, or any VW really, because unless it's a crafter, anything that's not a crafter really, the smaller vans, the best thing about them is if you're going around Scotland and the UK, obviously we have a lot of small back roads, so this sort of size van is perfect for that. If you say like a motorhome size, then obviously that's a lot bigger. And if you're going down like a single track back road, there's no one getting past you, you can't really squeeze into anywhere, so I imagine that's really difficult and can be a bit annoying. But with something like this, it's a lot more nimble and a lot smaller, and you kind of squeeze down back roads like going past each other and stuff, which helps. So that's another positive for getting a small van as well, is obviously if you plan on going on little tiny back roads, the smaller the van the better.
A positive about having a VW is the fact that you can get so many accessories literally for everything.
So yeah, and that also applies to parts as well. Like you can be pretty much anywhere in Europe and you can easily get a VW part. I imagine you could probably do the same with Mercedes as well, to be fair, but especially VW, you can seem to get them everywhere, and they're not exactly that expensive really because they're so common as well. So that's another good positive about having a VW, not just the size, but also the fact that a lot of people work on them, and it's very easy to get parts, so you're not waiting long waiting times to obviously get your part in that you need to obviously get your van back on the road or whatever. Also, another reason why we chose a VW as well, not just because we seen one come up cheap, The reason we liked them before, but obviously we weren't looking at them because of price, is the fact that they hold the value very well. So obviously when we got into this, we didn't know if we'd enjoy it or like it or want to come out of it. You know what I mean? We kind of just went into it saying we'll try it, get the experience of it, and then just kind of see what's what. And obviously if the case was that we didn't like it and we'd want to sell the van again, we didn't want to put loads of money into something that you kind of lose value on. Where obviously with a VW, they kind of hold the value really well, which is obviously another bonus about getting one of these vans, is the fact that it's kind of like an investment. If you kind of invest in it, and if you don't like it, you can pretty much sell it for all the money you've put in anyway. And you may lose a little bit, but not much. You know what I mean? Where other vans, you can maybe buy it, build it, and then you won't really get all the money back out of it just because the actual van value drops.
Yeah, I think you'll find it's easier to sell a VW T5 as well.
Yeah.
Because
they seem very
see a
popular.
lot. Yeah, when we went out the other day to Elveston Castle, we saw like 4 or 5 camper vans
just
out
in a
there.
little car park.
Yeah, so you see them all about.
And then if you actually look when you're driving around as well, they are everywhere. So yeah, the resale value on them is very good, which is obviously another bonus if you're unsure about what van to buy because you're not sure really if you want to commit like long term to it, and it's kind of just you want to dip your toes in and try it out and see what you think. Obviously a VW T5 or any VW for that matter is like a really good choice because you use it more like an investment. You buy it, you try it. If you don't like it, you can sell it and get all your money back out of it pretty much, which obviously is quite important because you don't just want to waste money. You know what I mean? You want to kind of be smart with your money.
Plus, it's a good starting van. Like we started off small, and then with the option that we can obviously sell this and get a bigger van in the future or change it. Because I think obviously we've seen a lot of people who have had like small vans like this, and then they've gone and upgraded their van to like a long wheelbase or something like that, and gone like put a lot of money and investment into it just because they really like it. But
and you know for sure then that you're going to get the value out of your investment because you actually enjoy living like this and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a big positive.
And lastly, we think the VW campers are actually the best looking vans on the market at the minute. Yeah,
that's probably a bit controversial. There's probably other people that like other vans, but for us, VWs all the way. Like the look of them, they just design the best in our opinion. Especially like I keep saying, the VW T3s and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They're just they're very nostalgic and they look really smart. And when you see them on the road, you kind of just go, oh yeah, it's a VW camper. So you kind of get that feeling from them that you don't probably get from other vans. Obviously, we haven't owned other vans, so we don't know. But at least from our opinion,
the OG.
Yeah, these are the OGs for sure. Yeah, so we thought we'd just sit down and give you a bit of insight of why we bought a VW T5 and maybe help you out with some of the reasons why you're looking at getting one and maybe give you a few more reasons to actually buy one or not buy one as well. That can obviously be helpful. But yeah, so we're going to end the video here. So thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And we'll see you tomorrow.